Very much, Angus, and yes, a good lead into Mark, who will give us a few minutes of his time from an environmentalist point of view on branding and innovation.
On branding? No, I don't know anything about branding. No. I wanted to talk about innovation in the sense of re-emphasizing what I said this morning. I've already had half an hour, so I won't take up too much of your time now, but just to really make this point as strongly as possible, I think if you're talking about innovation and environmental sustainability, the key thing is to think about improving productivity or yield per unit of environmental scarcity, if you like, whether that's land, water, nitrogen, to focus on some of the things that I mentioned earlier in the sense of planetary boundaries. So I guess as business people, you're more used to thinking of returns on capital or returns on labor or whatever, or returns on investment. But I think that's really important. I want to see graphs which trend upwards in terms of the tonnage you're getting as a response to your nitrogen input, your water input, and so on. I do think some of the, I don't know which slides I've got coming up here, but I do think some of the trends that we've seen in the past have been important ones, but they have leveled off, and that's one of the things that concerns me, is why we're not seeing productivity increases anymore. Why, whilst the world's population goes up, we're seeing declines in the amount of food availability per person. These are areas of significant concern. I talked about GM, I talked about blight control. I wanted to mention a bit more about the issue of organic certification. I really do think that the organic movement is increasingly becoming something of a backwater because it's environmentally and scientifically increasingly irrelevant. In some ways, it's almost a bit like homeopathy in that it's now increasingly perceived as making claims which don't have scientific justification. And there's many more certifications. I mean, there's the LEAF scheme that Alan was telling me about last night, which has much higher environmental standards than just your general organic. So these things are not well known, but they need to be increasingly emphasized to the consumer, to the benefits, so that they're much better understood. Productivity is particularly important to Africa. And again, to emphasize what I said this morning about the rapid rates of economic growth, there's now 20 sub-Saharan African countries that have growth rates of 5% or above. So these are the emerging tigers of the new economy. They will be increasingly connected into world markets. They'll have better transport links. They will be areas where agricultural productivity is going to be increasingly important and will deliver increasing benefits for people, for local populations there as well. Just to disagree slightly with the previous speaker, I don't think in terms of GM the health benefits will sell it. I actually think environmental benefits will sell it. The health stuff still has a bit of a yuck factor. It's got a bit too much novelty there still. People aren't going to eat bananas which are giving them a vaccine. They're not going to eat potatoes which have some novel thing in them. That's just a hunch. I can't prove that. I haven't done any surveys. So I think sustainability traits are going to be crucial in GM, and I would say that's what interests me as an environmentalist. That's what we need the technology to be applied in ways that deliver sustainability outcomes, whether it's reducing the applications of toxic pesticides or delivering yield improvements per unit of water, nitrogen or land or whatever. Just to give one example to chew on, Rothamsted are currently working on taking the omega-3 fatty acids that you get from fish and putting that into, I think they're doing it into some type of oilseed rape. It's got to be an oilseed crop, obviously. Not to take to the consumer directly, but then to use for manufacturing fish meal. At the moment, the real sustainability issue with fish farming, with aquaculture, is that you have to hoover out the base of the marine food chain in order to make the fish meal to feed the fish. If you can deliver fish meal which has the right kinds of omega-3 fats in it from land-based agriculture, then you can actually for the first time deliver sustainable farmed fish. And I think things like that are going to refocus the public mind on some of the benefits of GM because it's expressly aimed at delivering better biodiversity. Conserving marine biodiversity, I as an environmentalist wouldn't dream of opposing such a thing, and I think many environmentalists out there would feel similarly. Thank you.
Right, we've got time for 2 or 3 questions to the 3 people here. Can I have the first question, please, from anyone? No, no. Right, well, I've got a question, and it's to Linda. Linda, if consumers are expecting food manufacturers to fight for the quality of the food that we're producing, so we've got to stand up and fight for what we're doing, should it be the producers themselves, not environmentalists or scientists, who should be promoting the GM debate?
I would argue it's a collective and collaborative effort that needs to take place. What we've seen around the world is that our farmers and ranchers in particular are not getting the credit they are due for all of the hard work that they have put into the food. And they've been somewhat absent from the debate. I think this is a collaborative, collective event that needs to happen publicly so that consumers can see that the entire food channel and chain is engaged on their behalf.
And would you like to say anything on that subject? No. Do we have any other questions? No? Right, well, I'll draw it to a conclusion then, because we are just slightly over time anyway. A very interesting session, and Linda has shown us what the consumer is going to want in the future. Angus has looked at what's happening today, and Mark has told us to demonstrate as producers, our ability to produce more from less. And I think that's been one of the key themes over the last 2 days. So I was referring to branding. We've got a brand trust, I think, and perhaps all stand there with pitchforks, according to Linda. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for your attention, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you.